I'm Kathy Church, and in addition to being the Director of Christian Education, I am also our congregation's partner with Open Eyes of Faith, which is an organization that works to enable and equip congregations to help solve the problem of domestic violence.
I'm Marge Hall, and I am a volunteer for hospice. I volunteer through Sparrow Hospital, and I'm entering my 10th year of doing hospice work.
My name is Art Knott, and I'm going to talk about the blood drives that we hold here at the church.
I'm LOUANNE Service, and I'm going to talk about being a liturgist and how liturgists help the service, mainly at 11 o'clock, the traditional service.
Patricia Weissong and Wills and Estates.
My name is Kathy Russell, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do at Alpha.
I'm Carol PRESSON, and I'm going to talk about Meals on Wheels today.
My name is Patty Leonard, and I'm here to talk about the praise and worship team from the 9:30 service.
My name's STRAHLE, and I just wanted to mention the first time I come to this church, and then Dr. Glenn called me on my birthday, and I was shocked. I thought, I didn't know he knew I was alive even, you know. And I was so impressed about that. And then one day I drove the truck by, and here he is out there picking up cigarette butts. Well, these two kids are helping him, so I stopped. And that's kind of how I got involved with helping with around the church and the lawn and so forth.
I am KARI DEROSA, and I have the pleasure of talking about Give a Kid a Project.
I was inspired to become involved when I heard several years ago that the number one place that a woman of faith goes for support when she's in a situation of domestic violence is to her faith community, and the place where she receives the least amount of help is in her faith community. And that just really saddened me, and I wanted to be part of that situation changing. So in my last church, which was in Livingston County, I was involved with the agency there, and it just felt natural to continue that when I came to Holt.
My mother-in-law died, it's probably been 15 years ago. And during the time that she was dying, I was able to spend time with her, and she was in a Lutheran nursing home. And it wasn't a hospice, but they gave her hospice-like treatment. And I saw the care that she gave and what a help it was for us to have the people to be there to take care of her when we couldn't be there. And I just filed that away, and then later the opportunity came to volunteer for Sparrow.
I was inspired to become involved by looking at the community, and there wasn't any blood drives in our community at the time. And so I decided to go to the Mason Kiwanis Club, which has and have blood drives all the time, and find out just what you got to do to start a blood drive. And the Kiwanis coordinator over there told me that all I had to do is get a place to hold the blood drive and then call the Red Cross and tell them that you would like to start a blood drive. So that started it because I come back to the church, and at the present it was Lynn Grimes was the pastor, and I asked her if we could hold the blood drives at Holt United Methodist Church. And so we had to get permission from the ad board, which we did, and they agreed. And that's how the blood drive started here at the Holt United Methodist Church.
Well, I've belonged to this church about 16 years, which is a newbie compared to some. And early on, for about a year or two, I really wasn't involved. And of course, as a new person, people don't know you very well. But at one point, I think maybe a dozen years ago, someone started to talk about the fact that they would invite people or ask some of the lay people to get up and help with the service. So based on my past experience, I thought, well, I could do that. So that's how I got involved.
Actually, I wasn't inspired. I was asked if I would do it, and at the time I really didn't know what it was.
Well, Maribel Anderson, years ago, really, I think she had a hand in starting it. And she was one of the leadership then, and she just talked about it now and then, and I just thought it sounded interesting. So I went to a meeting, and I was really just going to watch and stay for a few minutes, but she said, "Why don't you just stay?" So I've been there ever since.
Well, I've heard about Meals on Wheels for years and years. It's kind of a well-known program. My husband and I are fairly new retirees, and we do some sort of very loose volunteering by doing things maybe with neighbors, elderly relatives, you know, that type of thing that really isn't scheduled. We wanted to get into something a little more formal, a little more scheduled, and when we looked around the community, we decided Meals on Wheels was a very good program for us.
Butch and I were looking for a church, and we came here, and we just loved the praise and worship. And within 2 weeks, I asked if I could try out, and they took me.
Well, I feel good. It makes me feel like I'm working for the Lord and helping the church out, and it's just a good feeling. And I do that with other people. If I can help them out, I enjoy doing it. Makes me feel good inside.
It was actually dumped in my lap. Carol Gifford started this program in 1974, I believe, or 75. And she had gotten ill and needed a kidney transplant. And she wanted to keep it at the Holt United Methodist Church. And she just kind of said, "Here." And here I am at 2012, still doing it.
What I get out of being our congregation's partner is that I get the opportunity to come alongside women or men in a very difficult situation and help them by giving them the tools, the resources to hopefully improve their situation.
You help so many people. People say to me, "How can you do that?" And I say, and so do my co-volunteers, we get so much more than we give. The gratitude of the patient, the gratitude of their family. I do a lot of work with bereavement. I've worked in the various parts of hospice, like in-home, taking care of people, in hospice house, Sparrow's facility with St. Lawrence. And I've done massage with the people, but I found that my real gift is working with those who are very near death. I'm a visual volunteer, so we are on call pretty much. So when someone is near death, Sparrow has a philosophy that no one will die alone. So that when we get a call saying either somebody doesn't have family there, or it could be that the family just is scared and they want somebody else. So we go and sit with them. And they're just so grateful for our presence. The other part I do is follow up with the family. That's a big part of hospice. It works very well for me because I work full-time and I can do that on my own schedule. If people want someone to talk to, sometimes it's hard for them to talk to their family about what they're really feeling. So we call them for at least 13 months after their loved one has died. I've got people I'm talking to for over 2 years, but that's fine. It's whatever they want. And I tell them, when you get tired of me calling, you tell me. And I can see the growth. In the beginning, they're so overwhelmed. But as time passes, they get through the hurdles of all the paperwork and everything that they're dealing with in the beginning. They just start to get a sense of who they are on their own, and it works very well for us.
I get out of this the joy of watching people give to others to save someone's life, because that's what giving blood is. It helps to save people's lives, and it is badly needed all over the country. And that's what I got out of it, was watching the joy on the people's faces that are giving blood, and then talking to the donors afterwards and asking them and thanking them what they thought of blood drives, and they thank us in return for putting the opportunity in their lap to be able to give blood.
Well, because I've become very active and over the years have gotten involved in a lot of activities, for me, sometimes it's a way for me to really feel the worship experience and feel God's presence in the worship experience, because I am up in front and part of the whole team that provides support to Pastor Glenn.
The joy of knowing that there are people in our midst that have planned for giving to the church even after their life is done. Their message of love through God and to this church is amazing.
Oh, it's just a good way to start the week. We used to meet every week, and now we just meet once a month, but just everyone is so glad to be there and enjoys whatever we have planned. It can be something fairly involved or not very involved at all, and they just enjoy it, and their smiles, and it's just great. It's just a good way to start the week.
It's very rewarding. You know, I started out thinking, what will I do if I get to someone that I maybe don't care for, or I feel like they're taking advantage and really aren't deserving of, you know, the free meals? And immediately those feelings went away. I believe in the program, and I think it gives to the greater good. And after doing it a few times, we've interacted with people. You know, they get the meals, but they also get the human contact, and that's very, very important. We go to people's homes that maybe they do have adult children who live locally and help them a great deal, and that's fine. But maybe those adult kids are at work all day long. So we step in around the lunch hour and just have the interaction so that they see another person, they chat momentarily with someone, they get the warm meal, but they also get the warm contact from someone stopping by.
We are a very tight-knit group. We enjoy each other's company, as well as I get an enriched soul every Sunday from my music and worshiping to God. And
Well, it's helped me a lot going to 3 Bible classes. I begin to learn more about the Bible, and even when he does a sermon now, I can kind of pick up on it, and a lot of it's repeat, but I really enjoy it.
That knowing that I'm helping somebody that needs help, and that the church has been the backer of this for all these years. So how can I not say, I don't want to do it anymore?
My faith has grown because I think sometimes we don't like that the world is as messy as it is, and that things are happening that we can't always control or do anything about. So I've grown because I've realized that this partnership with Open Eyes of Faith gives us a chance to really meet people's needs in a way that the church wasn't equipped to do that before. So it's helped me be more compassionate and less judgmental. It's helped me to understand that the best we can do sometimes is just come alongside people and be supportive, even if we don't have all the answers.
I think my faith has grown by just watching the people and seeing them through the hard times. So many of them have a strong faith, and they talk about how God's going to see me through this, and he does. They can have been through some very rough circumstances, and for a while some of them are even doubting. It's like, why did God let this happen to me? And then they eventually come around and say, okay, I'm going to be stronger for this. I know God's there to help me.
Oh, my faith has grown tremendously about this. Again, it is the joy and the instillment that God has put into my heart to be able to do this, and it's a joy for me to watch all the people, and it's also a joy to me to have the opportunity and the faith to go forward and keep doing this.
I think that it has helped me to understand more about the Bible, and I did participate in Disciple Bible. I did go to one lay speaking class. I believe that my other involvement in just being able to come up with things to say to help support the worship service, but help it to be seamless in a way, and that I'm not there to be the person in a major role. I just feel I'm as much a part of the team as those who support by being an usher, being a member of the choir, being all of the musicians, greeters, those who do support the whole worship experience.
Just knowing that there are other people out there who have such a strong commitment to God and to this congregation and this church that they were willing to set aside a legacy to leave.
Oh gosh, well, I watch the participants really, how much they, how eager they are to come. And for some of them, it's hard to get there. They're depending on other people to bring them. And just once they're there, they're so glad to be there. And they remember so much from other times when we've met, from the other Bible stories, and they're just thrilled to be able to participate.
We've only been doing it for just a very short time, but I think it's always important to see God's good work coming from my hands and feet in the community. That's very rewarding.
Any time that you spend with fellowship with people and you enrich your life with God's word in our songs, if you've listened to our songs and how we worship with God instead of to God, our songs are very inspiring, and that just fills your soul, and we enjoy every minute that we're up there.
Well, I'm closer to God now than I ever was, and I feel like I'm saved, and so that's a good thing for me.
That no matter how hard and how scared I am about not being able to provide, not just me, but my family. I mean, we've been behind this ever since Carol pushed it onto us. And I don't mean push it in a mean way. But there was times where my sister and I were saying, where are we going to be able to get this money? God has always provided. He has always provided for everything that we've done. And so, sure, we may fret about it, but then he comes through, and that makes me know that God is with me through these programs and with us through these programs. I don't mean to say just me, because it is the whole congregation. It is my family who has been behind it 100% for all these years, and when we didn't have everybody behind it. And he's always gotten us through it. And it's made my faith grow in that way.
My prayer is that people will see Jesus in me in the fact that there's someone that can be there for them in the difficult times, someone they can reach out to, someone that could point them ultimately to Jesus, because he is the only answer. And he loves us, and to share that love is a privilege that we all get. And I'm just thankful to be part of it.
People are so appreciative. One of my favorite verses is from Matthew 11, "Come on to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." And that's how they see us, as giving them rest. Sometimes people can care for their loved ones at home. They just need a break sometimes, and that's us. Sometimes they can't care for them at home, or there's no one in the area for them, and they're in the hospice house, and we're there to help them with that. We're there with them in their dying times. So often we read to them, we sing to them. They don't care if we're a good singer or not. It's just somebody sharing the love of God with them. one of my most memorable ones was not a Christian family. It was a Muslim family. Very few of them spoke English. I could feel God. I could feel their Allah present in that room. There had to be 100 people in the house when I got there. And the grandchildren spoke English, the others spoke Turkish. They had Skype set up with a son who was in Russia. And as I sat there with them, they were all on their floor, they were in their long gowns, their veils, and they had a chair for me. I mean, they obviously knew I was not a Muslim woman, but their prayers, you know, they would just like know I was there for quite some time, and they knew the time, and they would get out their beautiful Quran that they had tucked in the bag with their loved one, and they would say their prayers. And they might not have seen Jesus in me, but God was there with them, and it's the same God. It was a wonderful experience.
People see Jesus in what we do by the giving of our time and the opportunity to be able to do this, and people see that, and they enjoy also watching us perform our duties, and we just that's where Jesus, I think, is really working well. One stat that I want to give, and that stat is that the number of units of blood that we have collected since 2007 is about 1,500 units. And I wish that I would have been going back further since we started this, because it would have been a whole lot more.
Well, that's a tough question for me to answer. I know how I feel and how I hope they experience worship, but I think each person is unique and they each have their own feelings about it. So I think for me that's a difficult question to answer.
I think they see it when the money comes back. Sometimes we can't do as much as we'd like to when the market turns and the money isn't there. But it's seeing that blessing, even after their life has ended, the ability to continue to put money towards projects that they felt were important while they were here.
Just being consistent with doing the work that I think Jesus would like me to do, and the response from other people around me.
I guess just simply what I just said before about what I get out of it. I think if they see God's hands and feet at work through us, I think that shows who and what we are.
I think we radiate of Jesus. Our smiles, we connect with the audience. You can tell that every single person up there enjoys what we're doing. It's a big commitment because we only have 4 Sundays off a year, and we love what we do.
But of course, after the snow plows are all done, there's tons of work to do then. You have to put the sod back, I have to reseed it all. Now this next spring, I'm going to have to get the rototiller out because a lot of it died. We had such a dry, hot summer. And then where the ground molds raised it up, that all died. It was terrible, yeah.
Because the program is through the church, they know that they have to come to church to pick up this program if they need it. And they feel the warmth and the love. And giving an example of this, it was just this year. In 1991, it wasn't 1991, it was 2002, we started the backpack program. And my sisters and my goal when we started this program was to be able to provide an outfit for each child to start school with, including the backpacks and the school supplies. Well, in 2012, we were able to do that. So we were able to get a $25 gift card for every single child that picked up a backpack, also got a new outfit. Well, this one little girl came to the ice cream shop and handed me all these pennies, all these dimes, all these quarters. And she was so thrilled that she was able at Old Navy to pick up a new lunch pail and a new t-shirt, that she wanted to do something for us. So she had a lemonade stand, and she has been crying. This little girl has been she's 8 years old, and she was so thrilled about being able to get something new to start school with that she had a lemonade stand, and she raised $50. And when she couldn't quite make that goal, she opened up her piggy bank and gave it to the Give It Kit.